Hello and welcome to my home. Today I'm going to compare 3 Pillsbury canned biscuits to each other. They're part of what I'm going to call the Grand series. So they have 3 types of biscuits in this category, and I'm going to review them and compare them to each other to see is there really a difference between these 3 cans of Pillsbury biscuits. But before we go there, I want to let you know that I have other types of videos on my channel. I have easy to prepare recipes, other product reviews. I have videos on how to grow various vegetables in containers, and meditation videos. So let's go and look at those canned Pillsbury biscuits. The first one is a Buttermilk Grands Southern Homestyle. The second one is going to be also a Buttermilk, but this one is going to be Grand's Flaky Layer Buttermilk, and these are all Pillsbury, as you can tell by the little fluffy doughboy. And the last one just says Original Flaky Layers. So I want to see if there's really any difference between these. Now there is a difference in the picture. I want to point that out. The Buttermilk Southern Homestyle, let me get my thumb out the way, looks like that on the can. The Buttermilk Grands, what is this? Flaky Layers. You can see some layers in there. So we'll see. And then just the Original Grands also has a picture of flaky layers. So I'm interested to see if there's really a difference. I'm going to start by first baking the original one. This is the Original Grands Flaky Layers. And I'm going to bake this in my regular oven. It's not a convection oven, it's just a regular setting that I'm using. And I'm cooking all these biscuits at 350 degrees per the instructions. These are fresh out of the oven. This is the Original Grands Flaky Layers. Here's the original little label, but that's how they look. I do see layers. Now it doesn't exactly look like a lot of multiple layers. On the end over there it looks like it's getting multiple layers, but it does technically have layers in the biscuits. Next we're going to do the Grand's Flaky Layers Buttermilk and get those in the oven. So here are the Grand's Buttermilk Flaky Layers right out the oven. Yeah, you see some layers going around there. So that is the Buttermilk Grands Flaky Layers. Here's the last one. This one is the Buttermilk Grands Southern Style. So when they say Southern Style, I always have high hopes, but we'll see how this one compares to the other 2. So here is the Southern Homestyle Buttermilk biscuits from Pillsbury. And this is how they look. They don't have the flaky layers, but these are not advertised as having flaky layers. These are Southern Homestyle biscuits, Pillsbury style. Next, I'm going to start actually tasting and examining these, all 3 biscuits. So the biscuits are lined up next to each other. I noticed right away there is a difference between the look of the 2 that are labeled as Flaky Layer, which are these 2. One is Original. Here's the Original. Here's the one that's Buttermilk Flaky Layers. And this is the Southern Homestyle. And it does have a most distinctive look than the other ones. And I want to say they do kind of look more like a homemade biscuit. Now this is the plate of the Buttermilk Grand Flaky Layers. I'm going to taste it. And there it is. There are some flaky layers in there. So I'm going to take a nice little taste. It has a nice chew to it. The crust on the top is a little, contrast to the softness of the inside. So I'm gonna take another bite. It's a canned biscuit. So it's not gonna be as light and flaky as something that you make on your own, but it's not bad. I'm going to go ahead next and taste the other one that claims that is a flaky. And that's the Flaky Original. Here's the Flaky Original. Give you a shot of that. I'm going to take a drink of water to cleanse my palate. Okay, the original Flaky Layers. Close up. Yeah, it's got some layers going on in there. So let me taste it. I'm going to say this one has a little sweeter flavor and it's a little more tender than the other one. And this is the original Flaky Layers. Not bad. Now the one that I'm really anxious to try is the Southern Homestyle. So here's the Southern Homestyle. That's how it looks. Now, it's not advertised as having flaky layers. It's more of a Homestyle looking, but it did break into some layers a little bit there. So I'm going to cleanse my palate with some water and take a taste of this. You know, I'm pleasantly surprised. This does taste a little bit more like a homemade and not so much like a canned biscuit. And I want to compare the insides a little bit more. That's the Southern Homestyle. And you can see how that texture is different than the Flaky Layer. And I really like this texture better. I really like this biscuit. Now, my overall thoughts, I'll give it to you in the next few seconds. Overall, the 3 canned biscuits were good. There were some that stood out. The Southern Homestyle biscuit was the best of the 3 in my opinion because of the nice soft texture, the tenderness of it, and the flavor. The flavor stood out the most from the other 2. Now the original Flaky and the Buttermilk Flaky, yeah, they had some flaky layers. It didn't look exactly like the original Flaky Layer. They have the best texture. It was more tender than the Buttermilk Flaky Layer, which is surprising because normally you think of Buttermilk as being a tenderizer, but in this instance, it was a little tough on that Buttermilk Flaky Layer. So if I had to rank them as far as which one I like the best, I would give the Southern Homestyle biscuit, I would give that actually an 8.7. That was a pretty good biscuit. Now as far as the other two, my second favorite would be the original Flaky Layer. I would give that like a 7.2. And the other one, the Buttermilk Flaky Layer, I would give that like a 6.8. So those are my ratings and my opinion on whether there's any real difference between the three. There is some difference. Mostly the difference again is between the Southern Homestyle and the other two Flaky Layer biscuits. Now if you want to stick around a little bit, I'll tell you a little bit about the ingredients that I found interesting, and I have some notes on this, so let me grab my notes. Now on the Flaky Layers, the original Flaky Layer and the Buttermilk Flaky Layer, they had the most ingredients. I mean, they had a lot of ingredients, so that's a lot of added stuff that they put in those biscuits. Now the Southern Homestyle biscuit, well, that didn't have as many ingredients, and maybe that's why it tasted more like Homestyle. But I wanted to point out that in the Southern Homestyle, they did not list butter as one of their ingredients, which I find interesting. Now I know some people make their Southern biscuits with lard, and they do have some other types of oils in here, palm and soybean oil, palm kernel oil, that type of stuff. Now the Buttermilk Flaky Layer and the original Flaky Layer had butter listed in them, which I thought was interesting. But in any event, those last two have a lot of ingredients, and I don't even know what those ingredients are and what they do for the biscuit, but I do like the Southern Homestyle the best. If you like that video, hit the thumbs up like button and consider subscribing to my channel and hit the notification bell so you know when I've uploaded a new video. That's it for now. Bye bye.